Don't mind me. I'm just
Okay.
playing with it.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for coming into our program today. We do appreciate it. This is The Path Forward. I am Cassandra Williamson, coming to you from a very narrow and long holler in eastern Kentucky. I do have a visitor on with me today, and I'm going to say this is the Mighty Mouse from somewhere in the world. Do you want to do you want to introduce yourself, Mighty Mouse? Did you bring
Well,
your decoder ring?
no,
No? Okay.
no Dakota ring, but an absolute grasp of power, lots of power. We're taking over the world. You just didn't know it yet.
Yeah, that is it, Pinky. We got this down.
Yeah. So, but yeah, today's kind of a good day to me. I have good days and bad days, and uh,
Yeah.
today I feel a little bit better this afternoon, and asked Cassandra if I could jump on for a minute and kind of catch up a little bit and
Okay. Well,
see what's going on. And
I'm glad you're here. I am
some,
glad you're here in more ways than you can imagine.
well, some of this craziness out here is,
Mm-hmm.
first it's MAGA wants this, first it's Democrats want this, and now Obama's going to get arrested, and when does it end? When does it end? When do we go back to worrying about grocery prices, schools, uh, bringing
Yeah.
good families together, good jobs, workability, hospital care for people? When does all that come back?
Well, right now, I don't think it's going to because the focus is we what's going on, in my opinion, anyway, is there's a lot of distractions taking place, and they become really loud about distracting everything from what? Well, the only thing that they're distracting from is they're trying to hide all the information about Epstein. They're trying to
Well,
shove
no,
it under the rug.
they're going 25 different directions to get away from Epstein.
Exactly. That's
Uh,
what I mean.
yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Ted
Hmm.
Kaczynski was his father's student, and
Oh, yeah. Really?
oh yeah, and
Hmm.
I think what is happening is I think somebody's just going to piss off the wrong person, and they're going to hand them a note, and it's going to be the end of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, though. I know that I keep watching The Five, and they keep talking about all these things. I mean, except Epstein. They keep beating around the bush about everything in the world, and they always have a way of bringing everything back to transgender people and in America. And I don't understand that. And for me personally, I mean, I'm going to call in the rent. The rent's due now. People over on the Five, the rent is due because I own so much real estate in your head right now that you ought to be paying me for the amount of time you spend talking about me. So I'm going to start saying the rent's due. Five, Jesse Waters and all that bunch. Come on, wherever you are, rent's due. But I can say this too that the mighty mouse without the decoder ring down there is exactly right. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world, and we've got to make sure that it stays focused on what the real problems are. And would you say that one of the big problems is that one of the underlying problems that we're facing right now is how the Christian nationalists in this country are trying to assume control of the country, and they've got a good example to follow. Khomeini over in Iran.
Well, Cassie, the thing you got to remember though is remember the numbers. And I don't think the numbers are going to support them all the way through.
Right.
Uh, then there's this case where this American welder moves to Russia with all hopes that woke will be out of his life forever. And now they got him sent on the front line.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Poor
His
fellow.
his wife has no money,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in a village that quite small population speaks English. So yeah, whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
I
You
mean,
know,
Russia's falling apart. Trump's turning against Russia.
yeah,
Uh,
for now.
well, he's into it now,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're not turning loose of it.
right.
Okay,
Are you talking about Putin in Ukraine?
all of it. Yeah,
All of it?
Putin, Ukraine, Jeffrey Epstein, all of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Trump's got his head kind of in the middle of it, and
right,
no way he turns does he win.
right.
And all of these big deals that he had, which we have none. Gas prices didn't come down. Groceries didn't come down. Um,
I can tell you they didn't come down around here. That is for sure. Gas has been
services,
steady.
yeah. Well, actually, there's been a lot of price gouging,
Mm-hmm.
and the government is doing nothing to protect the consumer.
Well, they don't plan on protecting any workers, no matter what, because the Labor Department's removing. I think it's Labor Department or one of them. Forget. I read the article earlier today, but they're removing all of these rules and regulations that protect the workers. About
I
60,
read it too.
yeah, 60 some regulations, rolling back safety things, rolling back all these things that some of them are old and need to be removed. That's for sure. But, but basically they're setting it up so that if you have a problem, it's on you. The business is protected. You're not going to be able to take them to the federal courts because the federal court's not going to be interested in it at all. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it so that there are no protections. Really, what this whole thing is all about, and this just occurred to me as a way to describe it, but back in the 1890s and 1880s, the same stuff was going on. We had child labor. There were no minimum wage. There's nothing like that actually set this forward to make it happen, protect people. Kids could work. Children were working. A lot of them lost their lives in the Chicago fires. And they wanted to go back to that Gilded Age. And that's the whole point of what's going on right now. They want to reestablish that Gilded Age. And all you have to do is look at Trump's golden palace and his golden office. And you can see that he loves that Gilded Age stuff, the robber barons. And that's what we're seeing, surprisingly or unsurprisingly. You know, I will say this, there was, for many years, if you had asked me who was the worst president in the United States history, I would have said Andrew Jackson, principally for two reasons. One, the Trail of Tears. Supreme Court told him no, he did it anyway, sent him to the West. The second thing is, well, there's three really. The second thing is he decided to destroy the American economy by moving the federal bank or the national banking system, take all the money. He couldn't eliminate it because it had been created by Congress, but he could take all the money out. And what he did was he took all the money out and sent it to the states. And then there was a real estate bubble that happened down in Pensacola, Florida, that set the nation back for 10 years economically. So I always thought that Andrew Jackson was the worst president in our nation's history until robber baron Trump came in. And that actually that just turns it up on its head. There's nothing that compares. It makes Andrew Jackson look like a saint. But anyway, that's just my feeling. And some people are going to call that Trump derangement syndrome. But no, that's a realistic interpretation of everything that I have seen for the past 50 years from that man. So take it as you will.
He just they just had a collage on showing his winnings for the last 6 months,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
were next to nothing.
right.
I mean, he's Plus, he's got other problems. The ICE people are quitting him. His attorneys are quitting him.
Mm-hmm.
They're not willing to enforce the law the way he wants to do it,
Yeah. Yep.
which says a lot for them.
Right.
And also, the military people are quitting too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Well.
that's the latest on the thing today is the new secret order to go after Panama and Greenland.
Oh yeah. Well, this person has got an ego that needs to be kind of adjusted slightly. But and I'm not calling for violence. Anyone listening, I am not calling for violence. Do not. I will be the one to turn you in. Huh.
Well, maybe just a little. He could slip on an ice patch.
Yeah. Well, not going there down that road.
No, what's going to happen, Cassie, is when these families start feeling the impact of these things,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, and then of course Trump's coming out saying no midterms and third term in office, and um, he's really going to the max with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just needs to be out of there.
Yeah. Well, there are rumors going around that there's some cognitive issues taking place now as well. So we don't know. We don't know if they'll 25th them or not or try to hide it. We'll see.
Well, the cognitive issues is if you're an old man, you don't fuck 12-year-old girls.
That's true. Or any man.
Yeah, it's what you just don't do it.
Right. You don't sneak in the locker rooms on people when even if you own this place, you don't do those kind of things. And yeah, he did it. You'd go
And he's
in there.
already admitted to it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. We
So
already know he has massive connections with Jeffrey Epstein, and that he knew exactly what was going on and was most likely part of all of it. So here we are talking about something that he and his team, especially over on Fox, they're trying to run from it. They're media sources. They like to call everybody else the media, but Fox is the media too, just so you know.
Yeah, no, I think the one that's going to have a really hard time is Pam Bundy when the public starts pushing her.
Yeah.
Um, she has nowhere to run.
Right. Don't they all know that she was the Attorney General of Florida during this time?
Yeah, of course they
The
do.
Epstein time. Yeah.
Of course they do.
And that she likely covered up for them some of their bad actions.
Yeah, she's on a high because she thinks she's on a big deal, and
Yeah.
the rats all eventually leave the ship when it starts to go down.
Well, we're seeing some of that already. Some of the people who are leaving are actually good, moral, and ethical people who are leaving from the DOJ because they don't want to participate in twisting the law to suit Trump and trying to be his personal law office. And that's what it's amounting to at this point. The DOJ is turning into Trump's law office. So wherever he has an issue, just say, Pam, go take care of that. Let's see if we can give them a hard time, stall them, and procrastinate, put it off, delay. His usual tactic that he's done for, I don't know, at least 50 years that I know of.
Well, unfortunately, MAGA's going to find out it's going to burn them just as much as everybody else.
But, I was thinking about that too. And that's a good point, by the way. That's a good point because I think what's happening is that everyone knows that Trump is basically just a placeholder. Because if something happens to Trump, they know that Trump is not really with them on a lot of the religious stuff and the Christian nationalism stuff, the Christian dominionism stuff, like J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth and others in the administration are, or Kevin Roberts over at Heritage, they know that Trump is not as extreme as they are, but he is doing their bidding and he's allowing that to take place in his administration. But if something comes of him and Vance has to step up, then you've got an entirely different story, because they're prepared. They're prepared that if something happens to Trump and he has to get out of the way, J.D. Vance will step in, and he is Opus Dei. So is Kevin Roberts, Opus Dei. So we've got a lot of stuff happening here that if they've covered themselves, they've really covered themselves. They've destroyed stuff. They've been a bull in the china shop, just destroy and cause all kinds of chaos. But that's the tactic that every conservative reset has accomplished or done throughout the past 100 years, at least, probably further back than that. But they've always done that same thing. They get so mad at everything and they rile up all their people over it and get them pissed off about all the cultural changes and societal changes and academia doing things. And, you know, and then in 64 and 65, they were pissed at all the migrants coming across the border and working on all of our farms and stuff. And this was in the 60s, and they decided that they would try to send out high school students to go pick the pickles and vegetables and fruit and all that stuff. We know how well that worked. They loaded them up on a bus, took them out to the place, put them in the same kind of conditions and living conditions that the migrants were living in. And most of them rebelled quickly. I mean, they were so pissed off about having to live in places like that. These companies were having to go out and buy restaurant food and bring it in, because otherwise they were just giving them the slop that they were giving to the migrants. So yeah, we've been down this road on all kinds of these issues before, and it's nothing new. The conservative reset comes in, blows up the world around us, and then they lose their steam. They just kind of fall over and wilt, you know, like some noodles. Anyway, I'm not going down that road either.
You forget the other big player, though.
What's that?
The big player is the produce doesn't get picked and it doesn't get sold.
Right. That's what happened in the 60s. They lost a lot of produce that just rotted in the field because these kids didn't want to go do it. They weren't going to do it. This was in the 60s. So they weren't going to do that. Come on.
They won't do it then, and they won't do it now.
They will not. You're going to have to find another solution. You actually do need the migrants here, but you need to have some way to actually regulate that better, I suspect. But this country has been unable to do that since the 1890s, when they kicked the Chinese out after they built the railroad systems for us. Yeah, we've done this before. We kicked out, about 1 million Latino migrants in the 30s. And obviously the Great Depression was going on then too. So yeah, we couldn't really afford to do anything to help them, but we couldn't help ourselves either. So, oh my gosh, we don't learn from history there, Mighty Mouse, without your decoder ring.
Well, history's a real bitch. You can come and kick in the ass.
Yeah, you got to start reading on it. I mean, my goodness, you got to understand your history, understand where we come from, understand this one too. That everybody, these Christian Dominionists, Pete Hegseth specifically, and Opus Dei like to say that this is a Christian nation. But you know, the first treaty we signed in Tripoli, the very first treaty. It says plainly there that the United States is not, never has been, and never will be a Christian nation. Now, look, I have no objections to the 10 Commandments. I have no objections to any of that kind of thing. None whatsoever at all. But the government has no business picking a preference. And that's what we're seeing in Texas. And here's the craziest part about it, because people just don't get the history again. Texas, the Texas Republic, actually had a clause in their constitution that said clergy shall not be in elected positions in the state house, legislature, the governor. Why? Because they thought the clergy ought to be tending to their flock and not coming in and trying to impose their will on the state. But Texas wasn't the only one. There were numerous others, including Kentucky and Tennessee and a couple others. There were a bunch, actually, all in the early 1800s. And here people are trying to tell me that this is a Christian nation and that we need to bring God back into it. Well, fine, but just keep him in your clergy. Take care of him in your synagogue or mosque or church. That is where it should be, and that's where they wanted it. But we've got a bunch of people who are perverting our history to fit their own needs. Anyway, I don't even know if I had that on my list, my playing cards to talk about today, but hey, that came out too. If anybody knows now, you know how the storyboard goes that I use. You've got this storyboard, and I do have a few ideas that I want to kind of go into, and I've already hit a lot of them because I'm looking at them over here. I wanted to talk about Fox News and the Five and the fact that I own so much real estate in their heads. I'm not going to sell it back either. It's mine, y'all. And then wanted to talk about America's headlong rush toward our version of Iran's Khomeinism or the Shia theocracy. And we're not going down the Muslim road in the United States, but we are using that same kind of thinking. We've exported our extremism around the world into Uganda. We are the basis. We are the reason why Uganda passed all these anti-LGBT laws. We are, the United States, the evangelicals in this country, exported our extremism to them. They exported our extremism to Viktor Orban because now he's become the darling of the conservative right here in the United States. We exported that same stuff to Putin and Russia, even though they had already a strong foundational national kind of Christian or national kind of religious orthodoxy. They had that. It became stronger after the Soviet Union fell, but it was there. But we kind of fed it along because the church I used to work for, the televangelist I used to work for, Kenneth and Gloria Copeland, they had offices in Moscow. They were over there doing a lot of different things. And I remember sending a lot of stuff out written in Russian going into that country. And if you know anything about Kenneth Copeland, and he's a good person, don't get me wrong, good people, had an opportunity to lay hands on them, but not forcefully. Go, hey, that kind of stuff. Yeah, did that once. Send them off. But yeah, I know that they are Christian nationalists, more like Christian dominionists. So I know that we export our extremism. We've exported our extremism. We exported our extremism into Germany and Austria and Italy, which became the foundation for fascism in those three countries. Because Hitler and Mussolini really liked the fact that the KKK was so strong in the 20s in the United States. Really liked that eugenicists like Bertrand Russell were in academia in the United States. Hitler even thought that the United States wouldn't end the war because we were thinking like them. Anyway, yeah, I talk and talk and talk, Bobby. The mighty mouse.
You do well. It's a learning, like you said, it's a learning process.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed this week on YouTube, there's more and more idiots coming out.
Mm-hmm.
My third week on transgender. And,
oh, yeah.
Who's
at the top of your list this week?
Nobody.
Oh, okay.
Nobody, simply because I just don't care.
Yeah.
If they're going to continue to wreck the community,
yeah,
it's on them.
Right.
I'm not going to spend time worrying about it, but I can guarantee you they're going to continue to wreck it.
Yeah. Doing a good
Some,
job.
some of these shenanigans at gay pride parades and so forth.
Oh my God. Jeez. I know.
That's not proving one's identity or oneself. That's making a fool out of yourself.
That's true. And everyone associated with you.
Because everybody thinks the same. Don't you have a cat box?
No, but I do have an easy ringer box.
Okay. No.
Yeah, no, I don't have a cat box. I don't even have a dog mask or a leash. Well, I do have a leash, but it's for my brother's husky.
Yeah. Well, Cassie, I think some of this needs to play out with Trump. Trump will be a good out, but then if J.D. Vance gets in there,
Yeah, oh yeah,
that could get critical real fast.
yeah.
But I don't think he has the skill to lead.
Hegseth didn't either.
Well, maybe with Trump out Supreme Court to grow some testicles or something.
Nope. Right now, they're handing him everything he wants on a silver platter.
Not everything.
Well, that might be true, but they're handing him the things that actually are impactful for the whole country, and it's just ugh.
They just handed Ron DeSantis a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, you're talking about for the alligator Alcatraz.
Mm-hmm.
What did you see about that?
States don't have the right to arrest immigrants. That's a federal charge.
Yeah.
And the states are trying to override the federal government.
So, was that sent out today or this week sometime?
Today.
Today? Okay, let me see. Supreme Court on states arresting immigrants. Okay, let me see what we can pull up here. U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, this is from 2 weeks ago. Immigration, marriage law, no. USA Today card. This is from June 16th. Texas border law green lighted. I don't see which one it is. I know this. 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court rejected Florida's appeal over immigration law. Let me see if that's the one. Jacksonville used as a model. Okay. Oh. Well, a case proceeds over the state law. Okay. In April, her city and nation to enact a law with jail sentences for anyone to enter or reside in the city while being in the country illegally. Gotcha. I think that might be the one. So, don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out.
Well,
yeah.
Seem to be doing good at waiting.
Yeah. But, that was a Supreme Court decision that actually made that a federal thing, even though it's in the Constitution, basically. But the Supreme Court reinforced that, and I forget what the case was or when. But they said it might have been in the late 1800s, early 1900s. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I know that the Supreme Court notified states then that the federal government was the one responsible for immigration enforcement. And now, I like you, I see where some states are trying to take that authority back and do it themselves. And I know that likely the Supreme Court will reverse that decision, 100-year-old decision, to a certain extent. maybe. I don't know. That's a tough one right there because immigration wasn't a big issue in this country until around the time of the Chinese who were here building the railroads for us. 20,000 or so Chinese, and we shipped them out, and they came back in different ways, the northern border and the southern border, and tried to kick them out again. And basically, those in power tried to turn the country against them, calling them all kinds of things and blaming them for things that didn't happen, or taking one thing and applying it to the entire population. But they tried to kick out all these Chinese labor, and they tried to do the same thing with the Latino labor and migrant forces, migrants. And this stuff's been going on a long time. And under Trump, it's become magnified and worse in a huge way. There's a lot that needs to be fixed in this country. But the thing that gets me the most is hearing someone say, one, that they're a Christian, and then two, we don't want the foreigners in the land, or we don't want to take care of those who are weak and infirm. We don't want to take care of those who are poor and suffering, all those things because, we don't have the resources to pull it off. Well, there's nowhere in the red letters in the King James Bible or any of them that says that you can turn your back on those people, regardless of your resource pool. And that's the thing that gets me more than just about any of this is they might as well take their Christian faith and turn it on its head because it is not Christian. But let me rephrase that. There are 45,000 different versions of Christianity in the world recognized. They're all different. They all interpret things differently. So that's the problem. That's huge. Anyway, Bobby, it's now been 30 minutes, and I think we probably ought to call it so that we don't place too many demands on our audience. What do you think? I'm ready to take a break and shut down for the evening and just veg out. How about you?
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine today who works, and I said I'd give anything to work, but I have to lay here at home and take a nap. And my friend said I would give anything to take a nap. Can we trade?
Uh-huh.
And I said, no, I don't think that's going to happen. But I found it's quite easy to take a nap.
Yeah, well, I think you've come a long way from your first chemo treatments and stuff. And for a person who, what'd you do? Jump 125 times out of a perfectly good airplane?
Well, nobody ever said I had a straight mind.
I think that's an unfathomable number for somebody to jump in the middle of Vietnam.
Well, the thing about that is there's a point when you realize, wait a minute, 128, no, 129, hell no.
Right? That's one thing I wish I had done when I was in the military is had the opportunity to parachute.
Wonderful thing to do.
Yeah, I wish I had. I didn't get that opportunity, and I went the other direction. I went under the water and stayed down there for a while until I was in the Marine Corps. And then I was on land watching Harriers blow up stuff.
I've watched a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Blowing stuff up. I've even watched nuclear stuff go off.
I have not watched nuclear stuff going off. Dad did. My dad did, though.
Yeah.
He was an atomic era veteran in the 50s. And he went out. He was a steel worker. Came out of the Navy as a steel worker, second class. And He built the platforms they tested atomic bombs on over in the Philippines, like on the Bikini Atoll and different places.
Right.
And the craziest thing is that they would ask these people, these sailors and army, they had army people stationed on ships around the perimeter of where it was going to blow up just to see what the impact would be. I have a friend in Texas whose dad was on one of those ships.
Yeah, see, there comes a point when you need to say, well, maybe this next one's the one.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's better to back off.
Well, they gave dad several times a dosimeter that you would attach it to a string and swallow it. Put you on an airplane and fly you through the radiation cloud, the cloud from the explosion of the bomb, and then pull the string out after the flight and see how much damage was caused. I'm going, geez, oh my gosh. I'm lucky I don't glow in the dark.
You probably do, you don't realize it.
Yeah, I had my eyes closed a lot of times. So I was always wondering why this bright room never went dim.
Mm-hmm. Now you know.
All right. But
anyway,
yeah.
We'll think of exciting things tomorrow.
Oh no, everything's exciting to me. I mean, even things that maybe
it is. No question to me. Every day is an exciting day.
Yeah.
Some of them are a little better, some of them a little worse. But
yeah, I think you're doing great though, pulling through all this stuff and keeping your spirit up.
That can be a hard part at times.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know, you can get into that funk tank and think about it, or think about.
We've got a mutual friend who is your age, going through back surgery, and I know that she is having a hard time with all of that. She's never had to deal with any kind of thing like that, so I know that she's. Need to think about her and keep her in your thoughts at least, just so we can,
Absolutely, I pray for everybody that deals with disability.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, all of y'all are so much older than me. It makes me feel like a young whippersnapper in tennis shoes.
Yes, my child.
Grasshopper.
That's the one. We'll try to keep it going.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You do that.
We got a break until next Tuesday. That's our next treatment. And
they're moving that one for you, though, to a closer location. That's good. I'm glad.
You have no idea.
Yeah, no, I can't even imagine having to drive. How far was that drive? Like 2 hours? Yeah, and then you got like a 5-minute drive next Tuesday.
Not even 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. That stoplight on Bascom Norris and 47.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 3 buildings down.
Oh, wow.
So it's right there.
Good. Yeah. So after you finish that, you're going to take a swift little detour to Shirley's?
I was thinking about you and Shirley's the other day.
Were you? You know that this is the way I am, and you figured it out by now. But if you're going to tell me that there's a place where I shouldn't go, that might not be good for my health and well-being, but that's where I'm going to go.
You went down the rabbit hole.
I went down the rabbit hole. That's right. If you tell me that it's a place where the rednecks hang out and the KKK have an office, I'm going there. I'm going to be in the middle of it. If you tell me that it's not safe in the Badlands, I'm going to the Badlands.
I've been bad enough in my life. I think I'll just stay where I'm at. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, been a nice conversation.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, really.
Hopefully we can do it again tomorrow, and
If you feel up to
hopefully
it, that's
some of
good.
the listeners think we're a little crazier than we are.
I think they do, but that's all right. That's all right. I do invite them to join us, though. They can join in on the fun if they'd like. I mean, I'm not averse to people being on here who do not believe anything that I say. So you come right on in. I'll have that conversation with you.
Yeah, I mean, I have a self confidence where I don't worry about that at all.
Me either. I don't worry about that one bit. I
Now
was having, I
the
had a
yelling
conversation.
and screaming, no, we ain't gonna do that.
Yeah. Well, I did try to sound like Mark uh, Levin early on. I thought maybe I could use that as a model because he always starts out soft and he gets real loud. But anyway, today I got my hair fixed a little bit and I'm trying to get it to look more like Lisa Rennie on the daytime soaps,
Hmm.
except it's white and hers is black or brown, brunette. But anyway, so I was there at the beautician and she's talking with me about all kinds of stuff. You know me, I'm open to any kind of conversation about anything. And she was asking what it was like and all that kind of stuff. So I had to tell her that when I was in school or whenever prior to all the transition and stuff like that, I was straight as an arrow. You couldn't convince me of anything beyond that. And then um, after transition, that after the complete thing, after all of it, the post-op parts, I had to call up my surgeon and say, you know, doc, when can I take the Ferrari out for a test drive? And this beautician looked at me,
TMI.
and, yeah, that beautician looked at me and said, and just died laughing.
Yeah, test TMI.
No, that's some good
TMI.
stuff. That keeps everybody entertained. It's like going to that place over in San Francisco where I stayed across the Bay Bridge in a hotel, and right beside it was a Ferrari dealership. And I walked in there and talked to the owner. I'm looking at all the vehicles. I'm just having a blast in there. And the owner came out and was wondering why I was just having so much fun standing beside these Ferraris and taking pictures of them. And I told him, I said, I tell everybody that I was going to take a Ferrari out for a test drive. And he knew immediately what I was talking about. This guy, he goes, how much did the Ferrari cost? How much did your Ferrari cost? And I said, $150,000 to $170,000. He goes, well, there's nothing in here that cheap. Oh, I just died laughing. Oh, we both got a big kick out of that. That was so much fun. But I find ways to entertain myself and to be able to make fun of myself and keep other people laughing too, because can't be straight all the time. Well, wait a minute. Probably not the right word. Talk to you later, Bobby.
Bye.